3, 2, 1. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another exciting film adventure here on Delusions of Grandeur. I am one of your hosts, but today we are going to go on about a film that my fiance Tammy brought to the table. It is a film from 1990. It was directed by Clive Barker. It is called Nightbreed. Let me just see what IMDb says about the film before we go on. Give me 1 second here. And it says, a troubled young man is drawn to a mythical place called Midian, where a variety of friendly monsters are hiding from humanity. Meanwhile, a sadistic serial killer is looking for a patsy. The film stars Craig Sheffer, David Cronenberg, Anne Bobby, Charles Hayde, Hugh Corsi, Hugh Ross, among others. It is based on a novel by Clive Barker called Cabal. So let's go into first impressions. And let's go with you, Boris. We haven't gone with you first in a while. Why don't you tell us? Was this a first-time watch for you?
Yes, it was the first time, and actually, I have to say I enjoyed the movie quite a bit, maybe more than I expected. Okay, it's not like I expected not to enjoy it, but it was more exciting. It had more of stuff that I usually go for myself than I thought it would. All the biblical references and stuff that was very interesting. And the way they involved Baphomet as a character was something I found
I
rather
knew you'd like that.
intriguing. Right? Although I was also left wondering why it looked completely different from the version of Baphomet we all know.
And I do have to mention that Doug Bradley also showed up in here as a character playing Dirk Lylesburg. And if you know anything about Doug Bradley, he was the character who played Hellraiser in the Hellraiser series.
Oh, yeah, I did watch the first Hellraiser movie, but I forgot what you are saying.
Yeah, Clive Barker was behind Hellraiser as well. So, but
This
did
was
uh,
you
better.
finish up with your first impression then?
Well, I was also going to say near the end of it, I ended up getting a little confused by some things, and I was going to read a summary on Wikipedia to see if it would make things clear for me, but I didn't end up having the time for it. I had some things to do today, but. Yeah, it was very interesting. Maybe I'll eventually give it a second watch to understand better what happened regarding some things near the end. But yeah, it was really very good.
Well,
Okay,
we're gonna go over the movie, so maybe we'll help you figure it out.
definitely. What about you, Kroll? Was this a first time watch for you?
Yep.
And
It was my best friend's one of his favorite movies too, and I'd never seen it. He like I said, created his Dungeons and Dragons character was Nightbreed. Not sure which kind. I never saw the movie, so I didn't even know to ask then. Now I know. I was kind of wondering what what kind of Nightbreed he was because I don't think he ever said really. But anyways, I thought the movie was interesting. It was better than I thought it was going to be. I don't know. I mean, the start of it was kind of a little weird, so I didn't know how I was going to like it. And I did figure out pretty quickly who the real murderer was.
Yes, yes,
That was
that was.
definitely not much of a mystery. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's got a good thing going on there. You know, he's a fucking doctor and fucking kills people and blames it on his patients. Fucker.
Yeah, I found the guy suspicious the first during the very first phone call when he said something like "Don't fail me again" or something like that, and that was when I knew already he would be a bad guy.
Okay, is that the extent of your first impression then?
Yeah.
Okay, heading over to you, Tammy, since this was your pick. Uh, was this a first time watch for you?
No, no. I came across this back probably in the 80s. You know, I don't know how I came across
It
it
came
or
out in
It
what
was a
1990.
1990 film.
or 1990s. I mean,
I just said that. Beat you to it.
but I'm not sure how I came across it. All I know is the first time I watched it, I really really liked it, and I had it on VHS for the longest time. You know, but I don't know.
If
It was
those
I
kids
think,
out there, ask your parents what a VHS is.
but it the first time I watched it, it just I think I just it was everything, you know, the monsters and the creativity of the different monsters, you know. This one can't go outside, this one this, you know, they all got their uniqueness to them. They're all different. And I thought that was really neat, and you know, I like the look of Midian itself. I thought that was like the coolest looking cemetery, you know.
All right.
And so and you know, I thought the storyline was
Man,
pretty
that
good.
cemetery is so cool. People were dying again.
So I guess that would be like my first impression of it was. I mean, I kept wanting to see and anytime like somebody new wanted to watch a movie or whatever, I'd be like, "You want to watch Nightbreed? Yeah, want to watch Nightbreed?" You know.
Yeah.
So I think that was one of the ones when David and I first got together. Did you ever see the movie Nightbreed? You know. So
So it isn't just David subjecting you to movies, huh?
no,
No,
this was definitely one that I was subjected people to.
This was
and
Indians.
I was subjected to this movie way before I met Tammy. I had a friend who was really into the movie, and I saw it through him. I think he had it on VHS at the time, so that those were some good times. But I have a fairly a good memory of seeing this film. I do like all the characters and features in here. I mean, you do get some topless females in here, so that's cool. And I do like the little bit of tidbit that Doug Bradley is in here before Hellraiser, existed, and
I thought Hellraiser was in the 80s.
well, he was, yes, he was before he really got more well known in the series, because a lot of people saw him from like the first two, and you know this was like another role that if you didn't know who he was, you wouldn't like have picked him out like in a lineup, you know.
Yeah, I don't know who the fuck he
Yeah.
is. I still don't know who you're talking about.
But Doug, he became more well known in the Hellraiser series. I know he's been, showed up in random indie films over time. I think he was in something called The Vampire's Tale that I remember him being in. Not too long ago, but I know he's been in other stuff. It's just he started not getting used in the more recent Hellraisers, and there was like a controversy where like he was sent the script and then he was never asked to reprise the role or something like that. So I don't know.
Oh.
But and he had a problem with that, I guess. So, but anyways,
It happened.
I enjoyed the film. It's an interesting situation where the monsters are, in fact, the heroes in a sense, you know. And at the time, the studios didn't like that, so that's why it got a director's cut, and an even more rarer cut called the payball cut, which is out there as well.
I watched a version that was 2 hours long. Is that the
Yep.
director's cut?
Yeah,
Oh.
that is probably the director's cut that you saw.
And that's what I saw too.
And there ended up being comic books made of Nightbreed too.
I saw it on Peacock. Did you guys know there was supposed to be a TV series?
Yeah.
Really?
In 2019, whatever happened. But yeah, there was supposed to be a TV series. Because I looked up to see if there was a sequel, because the movie ended with a cliffhanger. A fucking,
it ended on a really good high note, you know.
There should have been a sequel. So then I saw it. I'm like, oh, TV show would be interesting. And then I looked and I saw the year was 2019. I'm like, well, shit. As far as I know, there's no TV show. So,
yeah, it might have been something that that had been made and then like shelved, or
they were making it and COVID happened and screwed it all up.
something like that. But you said that was 2013. COVID did
2019.
Okay, 2019.
So
Well,
COVID
maybe
could have screwed it up because that's only a year later.
COVID might have screwed it up, which you never know. It might actually happen.
Might see the light of day, may not. I mean, that's just the thing with the stuff that happened around COVID is there was a lot of stuff that was supposed to happen and never did. So,
well, I know that there is a comic book series about it.
Yeah,
that's true. And the comic book series is actually got a cult following too as well. So it's definitely got some history in shall I say the in books and stuff like that. So let's go into the plot line here. We begin kind of where we see the main character. He seems to be a factory worker of sorts as we see the film progress, but it starts out showing like his relationship with his girlfriend, and I guess she's a singer. And so there appears to be a concert that he's supposed to go and see, but he's been having these nightmares. And so she tells him to go see his doctor. And actually, don't we see a flashback of him as a kid? somewhere in the beginning here, where
Yeah, I believe that's him as a kid, where the doctor, the doctor in disguise murders the family, and now the kid's traumatized, and he's basically, it seems like,
Oh,
traumatizing him
is
through
that
his
who he
life.
is?
yeah,
Oh,
Oh, because it looked like the doctor was going up to kill him next, but I mean they never showed it. They just saw him walking up the stairs, so you figured I just assumed he was gonna die. But I didn't realize that was I thought that was a now thing, not a before thing.
so the kid who saw his parents getting murdered, that was Aaron Boone.
yep.
Right. And
Oh,
then
okay.
the doctor
I
has
guess that makes
traumatized him
sense.
all his life.
I,
And
I did not get that until you guys said it. I'm like, okay.
Uh,
I thought that
I
was
Yeah, it
before.
was a flashback sequence, but it didn't tell you it was a
No,
flashback.
it did, and it
They
didn't.
kind of
It didn't give you
made it.
any. It didn't give you any
but
inclination that it was at all.
No,
So
and
yeah,
when I
but
first
then
saw this, I thought the same thing. Like it was a current murder that was happening, and Boone was getting the blame for it or something like that.
but how did you eventually find out that
because
it
you realize that the doctor, he's been seeing this doctor for many years, and the doctor's traumatizing him. He's feeding
Well,
him these drugs, and he's, and then he keeps having the nightmare. Well, the nightmare is, because of the doctor killing his parents.
huh
That's the nightmare.
hmm
oh
and the Doctor is played by none other than David Cronenberg, and David Cronenberg is in fact a director in his own right. He directed, I believe, the Fly, the remake, and uh, many other
gross.
cool films from the 80s. Let's see. Yep, he's more notably known for The Fly, but he also has done Dead Ringers, Existence, Crash, and most recently, let's see, he did the movie Resurrection, which recently had a Vinegar Syndrome release not too long ago. He did a movie called Blood and Donuts, which is a vampire film.
Vampire donuts. They want to suck your jelly.
Yeah, this is like his most prolific role that I know that he's been part of. Like this, where he's actually been an actor, you know, because I don't think of him. I know that he shows up in some of his other
I was gonna
films,
say I could have sworn I've seen him before in other stuff.
but this
He
is like
looks
his
familiar.
longest role, from what I understand. You know,
Well, I've never seen this movie, so I know it wasn't from this. I know I've seen him in something though.
but yeah. So he goes and sees his doctor, and he does give him these pills, which he starts to see shit on, and he starts to hallucinate. And I guess where Boone ends up going is he because he's hallucinating, he ends up going outside his place, gets hit by a truck, wakes up in a hospital.
It
And
looked like he was. It looked like he was like worried that he had, done the murders and stuff.
yeah,
That he was trying to kill himself. That's
yeah.
what it looked like. It looked like he was
In
doing it on purpose, and
yeah
the truck
how
stopped
fact,
just in time.
the doctor had brought up the fact that there are some recent murders that have happened that have come to light,
And,
and
and it was described just the way he described everything, and the way the
mm,
murders and the houses and everything. And so, you know, basically the doctor's trying to frame him.
well, at that moment he's trying to point the finger and say, "Hey, I know that you've done this. You might as well confess. And if you don't go to the police, I will." but by that time he's given him the pills and he goes off and hallucinates. And I think in his own mind, it's like he doesn't believe that he's done this shit, and it's almost like he goes off on a suicidal um, thing. You know, he gets hit by a truck, he wakes up, and then in the next room is where he meets a certain patient that speaks of Midian. um, what do y'all think about that character?
Yeah, he was
Well,
just a little weird.
yeah, weird, kind of gruesome when he started to cut his own skin off. That was ew.
Well, yeah, he thought that he was there to guide him to Midian, and he was like, "Wait, is this a test? I know I should probably show you my inner face." And
But
so
My
he
real face.
yeah,
rip off his face, and that's about when the doctors came in. The doctor that had given him the pills, he's after him, and Boone ends up leaving from there. Meanwhile, um, his his girlfriend has had her concert, and he was supposed to evidently either show up there or at least be home when she got home, and he was not. So she called around to where he was, and meanwhile, while he was with the patient, he told him where Midian was, and
mm,
so he went to Midian in a truck that I think he had um, sequestered,
I
because I don't think it was his truck. I think
mm,
he had just run from the hospital and grabbed whatever vehicle that was there and went off to Midian, which is this cemetery out in the middle of nowhere,
mm,
which we don't really know where it is, do we? We're not really told, are we?
no, funnily enough, there is a biblical town named Midian, but
Yeah,
this
the priest was reading from it, and
yes, well, this is definitely not the same place, but it was named after the one from the Bible for some reason. But one thing I was going to say is I do wish we had gotten to know more about the guy who was cutting his skin off. Like, we don't know how exactly he got involved with Midian to begin with, how he knew about the whole thing, and then later on he was just there. We didn't even know how he ended up joining.
Well, regardless, Boone ends up showing up at Midian, which is this cemetery with this big gate that he goes inside, and that's where he meets two, maybe three of these so-called monsters that live underneath the cemetery. Um, in what we later know is called the Tribe of the Moon, at least the tribe that lives underneath, and only certain people are allowed in this so-called world of Midian.
they didn't do much to stop the girl. They just told her she can't go. She didn't listen.
Well, no, but he met this dude with these horns and this other monster that had like a half moon shaped forehead. That evidently, while he was running from these monsters, he was
Well,
scratched.
you didn't say why he was running. He was bitten because the horned one said he was he was pure, and he was just meat, meaning because he thought he belonged there 'cause he thought he was a murderer and natural, and they basically told him that he hasn't killed anyone, that he's innocent, and then bit him, and he pushed him away and ran like hell, and the other monsters trying to tell the other one not to chase after him, not to eat him, it's not the way, and he's not listening, and
And so Boone ends up running from not before being scratched by the guy, but
that's why he was bitten.
And then he gets
It was
outside.
even in the picture later.
All these cops have shown up with the doctor, and the doctor comes up and says, "Don't worry, I got this." And then
I believe you. He's got a gun.
Yeah. And of course, shoot first, ask questions later. The cops shoot him out, shoot him down.
Where's the gun? Oh well, he reached in his jacket.
What do y'all think about those cops? Are those your typical cops?
Yep.
Probably.
Yep.
What about you, Tammy? Do you think those are your typical cops in here that are portrayed?
Flunkies.
Lunkies.
Flunkies.
Well, explain yourself.
Well, to me, they're like not in. They're more or less probably like in like a hick town, and so when anything comes along, they got to try and portray themselves as big and bad and everything else, and instead of doing things the way they're supposed to do them, it's like how they shot him,
Like
shoot
nobody
first, ask
does,
questions
but
later,
Oh yeah.
So
Okay. So Boone, in fact, dies with that wound. So he becomes, in fact, a Midian monster himself. And then ultimately he is brought down into Midian and introduced to their tribe and seconded by that half moon shaped monster. Who and he's basically told that you can no longer have any relationships with the outside world because those are the rules. You don't. If anyone else knows about them, then they'll come down after them, and they'll no longer be safe there. So,
right.
Yeah.
but also there are some other monsters that are locked up, like in the basement.
Berserkers.
The berserkers.
Are you talking about the berserkers?
Yep. Which we'll get to eventually too, because evidently these monsters have been locked up because there is
They
no
can't
way
be controlled.
Yeah, they go berserk.
Hence the name, berserkers.
Or spoon down.
What?
That happens later.
Yes.
Yeah,
So Boone's body ends up showing up at the morgue to be shown to be recognized, and that's what happens. She comes and identifies the body, and the doctor is there to console her, and she's not quite ready to accept the truth of all of this. So she ends up going on a road trip with a friend of hers.
Not a friend, just somebody she just met.
Yeah.
Met her in the bathroom.
Friends.
Well, she goes on that road trip because his body disappears. That's why she goes on the road trip.
yes.
Yep.
His body
She
disappeared.
wanted to see where he had died and figure out. We try to figure out what the hell happened with his body.
Yep. So she shows up to a bar in town somewhere, and that's where she finds this other lady
Yeah,
who
she's crying, and the other lady's like, "Men or money?" Like, if I cry, it's always men or money. She goes, "It's men." Came in and then said she died.
and the next morning she looks like she's had a rough night. The bar lady. And in fact, I remember her being given like
The second she said the guy bought her a drink and they didn't show him, I'm like, I bet it's the fucking doctor. So I knew right away it was the fucking doctor. And as soon as he showed up there, I was like, yep, she's dead. I thought I was going to kill her that night, but I guess he's going to wait.
nope. So those two ladies end up going to Midian, and herself, the girlfriend, um, ends up going into the cemetery. Her name is Lori Winston,
where
by the
she
way.
finds
Where she
where
finds
she
a
finds the
creature.
little creature.
A creature all balled up and looking
And the
wretched.
mother is asking her to bring it to her.
Yep. And so she does, and I guess the mother is trying to get her to leave, like as soon as possible. But she's thankful for her bringing her inside. Um, but curiosity did kill the cat, so
She wanted to know what happened to Boone, and
correct. So she ends up
they
going
wouldn't tell her nothing.
into Midian a little bit.
And then one of the monsters came and scared her, and she left.
Yep, and she got chased out, and that's when Boone he's being held back by them. He's like, we can't just let her. We can't just let her be hunted down.
Well,
Let
first
me go
she
for it.
goes back to the truck. She sees blood. And she looks around. She finds her friend stuck to a tree.
Yep.
And then she finds the doctor, and she runs from him. And that's when she runs back into the graveyard, runs back over to where they are. And then he eventually goes upstairs and
Yep,
to help
and
her. And
that's when the cops.
The widow who cut his face was there.
Well, and there are a couple of bumbling cops with a lead detective in tow.
Not yet. That's for later.
They somehow
Later.
is arrested.
Later. You're skipping ahead.
Okay, what happens next?
The doctor takes off. Boone goes after him. The other one goes over to warm the girlfriend. I'd say that with quotation marks. I guess he was trying to catch her or something. She screams. Boone stops running after the doctor, runs back to find, to make sure she was okay, and the other guy's like, I'm just trying to keep her warm, and then he picks her up, and
Okay, and somehow or other he is arrested. And
yeah, she's arrested later.
How much later?
He's arrested later after the doctor goes back into town and he's trying to convince the deputies that there's something going on there and that there's something bad is going to happen if they don't go there and take care of it. And
He goes and kills this dude in some kind of shop.
But see, I thought that he was already arrested, and they had brought him in.
No, he's not arrested till
he hadn't gotten arrested yet. He was just killed, and then he got arrested later.
Right, he goes back to town with his girlfriend, and she's trying to hide him out.
He got arrested for being alive while killed. You're
See, I,
supposed to be dead.
I
You can't
remember him
walk around dead.
being arrested, and then while he was incarcerated, that is when the doctor said, "Hey, we should go and do whatever we can to to them." And
That
uh,
was again. The doctor was pushing it the whole time. So he didn't just push it once, he pushed it 3 times.
Yeah, because when he got arrested, the doctor had killed again. All those people at the hotel.
He got arrested at the hotel because they thought he killed those people at the hotel, but it was the doctor who had killed people at the hotel.
okay, and then
When did you watch this last week?
no, I watched this yesterday.
You should have watched it today. Didn't have memory. Thought my memory sucked.
Well, regardless, he does get arrested.
That's yeah.
And while he's
Yeah, he's
arrested,
finally got it right.
we find out about the priest that he wants to find out about this place and wants to join it.
Yep.
And the cops, while he's arrested, beat him up because they think that they're all that. And they bring in the medical examiner or whatever to check on Boone after they had arrested him, and he's like, he's got no heartbeat, he's got no pulse. What did you show me? What did you give me? And that's when the head officer, that's the biggest jerk, brings everybody in and asks what is going on here.
Well, yeah, he's at a conference with the public at the moment, and when he mentions the word the name Boone in that he's arrested him in connection to the people at the hotel, they were like, "Wait a minute, isn't that the name of the guy who you guys gunned down a couple of days ago?"
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Oh yeah.
So he is told something, gets up and goes, and that's when that patient that ripped off his skin ended up coming in with that mother who of that child who is kind of a siren in a sense.
And they get the girlfriend's help.
And they get the girlfriend's help to escape from jail. And
Don't forget she was naked.
yeah, the siren girl.
Don't know why she was naked, but she was naked. Then she kissed that dude and like.
Yeah,
that was cool how she could make herself smoke though and just come through that, keyhole.
Yeah, that was cool.
Because the cops are going, nobody's going to get through that door. It's totally enforced and this and that and everything else. And all of a sudden you see this cloud of smoke and she appears.
And he shoots his partner. Calls
Yep.
her the moron. Typical cop.
And she kisses him, and the other guy says, "You dirty, you dirty man," or something like that, as he walked out. I could just imagine it could have been like, "You sick puppy, you," or something like that. But they end up heading back to Midian.
And the cops are already there, though, creating problems and booby trapping it, to making it,
Yeah, there was that one monster with the little puppy dog that they found, and they basically killed him because they brought him out and kicked him around a bit, but they didn't realize that the sunlight would actually affect him.
Oh yeah.
And he blew up. ashes to ashes and dust to
Yeah,
dust.
the kid lasted way longer than he did.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, and spudaw.
Hey, one of you dickheads, I wouldn't be dead.
That was sad though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he seemed like he was like one of the good ones.
Yeah,
Um, it seemed
well, he
like
was.
he was an innocent monster.
He was a weirdo with the dog, but he was still a good one.
He was a naturalist with a dog. I could just imagine him being like one of those people who would be able
But
to
he's
hang.
the one that showed Boone where he was and talked to Behemoth, which is why they wanted to get him out of jail because he's the only person to ever talk to Behemoth and come back alive.
And there is a leader of this tribe who kind of like he looks like a old monk looking like dude.
But
With
don't do shit.
um, well, he's basically there to be the law. He's the law of Midian. He's there to
But he can't enforce shit.
pass a ceremony for them to be part of the whole thing, and I guess he's there as a face. But he also has the key that opens up the Berserker dungeon or whatever or whatnot, which ultimately comes into play when not only the cops get involved, but it seems like a whole uh,
The whole
they
town.
yeah, the whole town with their redneck buddies decided to show up in trucks and shit. Let's lynch this. Let's lynch this thing. You know, because we got dudes with flame guns, and you got the sheriff that's cocky and wants to go.
It's funny when the flame dude uh, lit himself on fire. I laughed. Wow!
Yes, it was.
Spudaw.
And
that truck
is
that went into that ran over that guy and then fucking went through the
Boone.
hole and the truck just fucking smashed through.
Boone is the one who said, "Hey, let's let out the berserkers."
Yeah, and Mr. In Charge finally did something. Of course, he got himself killed, so Boone had to go down and finish the job.
Yep. And ultimately, after the berserkers were let loose, that's when they started getting the upper hand, and I believe that most of the main people, the cops, the people from town that had come to lynch them, were in fact killed, and whoever was still around was able to escape. But we do have this moment where at the end here Boone goes down
When the
to
priest
the
pulls
lairs
his
of
gun.
Midian, and there's this like stone statue that comes alive when he like approaches it, and he tells
About the helmet.
The what they call Baphomet.
Yeah.
He basically tells him, "Hey, you destroyed this city. You must rebuild it. And
Save me!
you are no longer you are no longer Midian. You are Cabal."
Yeah, that was a part that I didn't fully
Boone.
understand. Why did he actually say that Boone was the one who destroyed Midian? And
Because he wanted to save his girlfriend.
Oh, and what was that new name supposed to mean?
Because it it showed the doctors the doctor where they were, and then the doctor went and got the lynch mob and shit, and went back there.
It
Uh,
because of what happened with Boone, it reaffirmed what the doctor thought that these people existed,
Yep.
and because of Boone coming back to life, it reaffirmed what he thought. So that's why he wanted to destroy him.
oh, and what was the meaning of the name Cabal, and why was a new name needed for him to begin with?
Don't know why he gave him the new name.
Well,
Well,
that
the
was,
word cabal means to unite or form.
Oh,
and that's what
So,
this movie was originally called, was Cabal.
oh yeah, yeah. Huh.
well, the story was originally called Cabal.
Yeah.
So, um,
Also, I have to say, okay, give me a moment.
I thought it was originally called Cabal.
but there's a lot of scenery in this
Mm,
final battle, anyways.
I uh, sorry. I was going to say I also wonder since, as far as we know, Baphomet looks like this. So why did the one in the movie look like something else? Or if it was something else, why was
Lots
it?
of movies do that for lots of them.
Honestly, Baphomet has been so many things. How do we even know what he looks like? You know,
Huh.
uh,
Okay, I guess that's a good point.
it's like the game of telephone. You whisper in someone's ear. Do you really think it's the same thing at the end of it all?
Usually not.
Never.
Just like ideas that happened like years ago. I mean, if someone said something and then it was passed down from generation to generation, do you really think it will be the same damn thing that it was remembered as in the very beginning? Like,
No, and that's probably the reason why there are so many contradictions and illogical things in the Bible.
and in history itself, I mean, who's to say that many
History
of the
written by
wars
victors.
were as bad as they say they were?
What did you say? Who is to say that what?
Who's to say that many of the wars were as bad as they say they were? You know, so
History is written by the victors.
True.
but at the end of this Cabalic battle, um, we get the people of Midian that are left are looking up to Boone as their possible savior, in a sense, I guess, because he is now their leader, you know, and now he has to find them a new home. So that's what he's trying to tell his girlfriend at the end. Like, this, whatever this is between us, it cannot be. I've got shit to do, you know, and she's like, "Fine, forget you. I came down into hell to fight to get and see you." But they give him his romantic ending anyways.
Yeah, she tries to kill herself. She stabs
Uh,
herself so she can turn into a Nightbreed or something.
Yeah, that ending was maybe a little predictable, but still okay.
Well, yeah, but at the end of everything, what did y'all think about the production of this film?
I thought it was great. I liked the whole underworld look and everything, and and I liked all the different monsters, because they were all unique, and they were monsters that you hadn't really seen before in other movies. They were, you know, it, I just think his imagination, Clive Barker's imagination for this was just awesome. The way he made the whole underground thing, and the whole storyline about these monsters and everything, and they weren't they weren't looking to bother anybody. They were looking to stay in their own little thing and just, you know,
Be
unless
content.
somebody right, unless somebody bothered them, they weren't going to bother somebody else, you know.
Oh, yes.
So I thought it was great. I liked the whole look of the cemetery, the whole look of the underground, everything.
It, indeed, same here. Uh, uh,
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
uh, s- I liked the production too. Yeah, as you say, the cemetery looked amazing. The whole underworld, the monsters, the effects, like when the dog-like creature turns into a little girl, that was also pretty well done. Uh,
I thought it was unique that there was this whole underlying story of this serial killer that was like killing for many years, and um, eh, eh, and he was seeking the world of Midian. That this kid that he recorded this world of Midian,
yeah.
it, curiosity as a killer. He wanted to enter hell in some way, shape, or form. Um, and uh, the idea of hell has always been mysterious, to many people. Some people believe that hell is what we're living now. you know, you know.
uh,
Some people have different ideas of hell. What is your idea of hell, Ron? Do you have an idea or depiction of hell, or what you think it is,
uh,
Mister K-Ball?
No.
You don't believe in hell?
Nope.
Okay. What about you, Tammy?
Not a Christian.
Do you believe that there is a hell?
Well, yeah, because basically, it's been said many a times you cannot believe in heaven if you can't, if you believe in heaven, you have to believe there is a hell.
I agree with you there.
So, yes, I do believe there is, because, you know, there's definitely people that we know of in society that definitely do not belong in heaven. So, where do you
Or
think
here
they
on
go?
Earth?
So,
Or here on
Become
Earth?
a cockroach.
I think that hell has always been a place where bad people should go. To me,
Where the people go
I
to
mean,
die, don't go to hell with
do you
me.
believe that there are bad people on
Go,
this earth?
go find
well, yeah, we see that every day.
again on the 4th of July.
Okay, then where should they go? Should they go to heaven, or should they go to a good place after they die?
Well, no, I believe they go to hell. And if and if everything's right, they should suffer for the rest of their life.
See, I think that Midian is kind of like a purgatory-ish type place. Um,
interesting.
uh, because it's neither heaven nor hell. Because evidently he's got to rebuild the place somewhere else, so it can't be hell.
The place of the monsters. There's nothing to do with hell or heaven.
well, as you guys know, I read a major part of the Bible and I did a little bit of research on that stuff. I myself am atheist agnostic, to say so, so I don't really believe in those things. But as far as what is actually written in the Bible goes, it is written rather confusingly, like things like heaven and hell are mentioned here and there, but it's not like there is ever a very clear description. And also, from what I gathered while doing the research and asking around, is that the very concept of hell is actually taken from some previous religions, and it originally wasn't in the Bible the way people imagine it nowadays. They just, from what I understood, from what people told me, if that's correct, the church changed some things in the Bible to make it seem like there is a hell after death. But what it actually says, if I understood correctly, is that when people die, they all go to some world of the dead, something. It says Sheol or Hades, something like that. But it's not quite hell. It's just the world of the dead. And then when those things from Revelation happen, then everyone is supposed to come back to life, and then those who were bad are supposedly going to the lake of fire, and that's what people actually imagine as hell. And that's some people interpret it as a place where those bad people will just burn to death and be destroyed permanently, while some others think it's a place of eternal damnation where they will burn for all eternity. While heaven is what people envision as heaven is actually described as God's kingdom that will be on earth after this world, after the events of Revelation, the final judgment, and all that stuff. Uh, it does mention there is a kingdom of heaven, but from what I understood, it's just where some special people went, like I don't know, Moses, Abraham, and some relevant biblical characters.
If I remember in the Bible, this is kind of how it happens. Supposedly, once the dead have and the living have been raised up and judged, there will be a 3 year, 3 years, a 7 year tribulation, from what I understand. And in the first
Oh,
3 years, the Antichrist will rise up and try to turn the people who have been left on earth to be judged. And then after the 3 years are up, then the Antichrist will take over. The rest of us will have our judgment day, and then that's when the Revelation stuff comes back in. So.
oh, possibly, I think the chronological order of all that is a little unclear. I think people have multiple different theories about what happens at which point.
Yep. But in any case, I believe that there is a hell. Whether or not it is this world as we speak, or I don't know. But I
That
do believe
sounds
that there
fairly plausible.
is a place where bad people need to go, and it's not where I am after death. So that's what I believe. I believe that there is a good place and a bad place. Whether it be hell, I don't know. but that is the place in which people call the normal place that we want people to go to. If you say go to hell, you know exactly where they're going.
Yeah, some people would say I'm going to hell merely for owning stuff like this.
But in any case, let us, since we have gone into production, I also like the underworld in here. In fact, the underworld of these monsters kind of reminds me of the underworld that you see in the movie Little Monsters, just a little bit.
Hmm,
Um,
interesting.
uh,
Let's see.
just a little bit, only in the fact that there are various like different monsters and stuff like that. And there are all kinds of like bridges to nowhere and stuff. Only this particular underworld underbelly like a place has what looks like lava pits or whatnot that you would think would be in a kind of a hellish looking place, you know. So, um, and it looks like this place has like no end to like where it goes. Like it's got like a cavernous like you could be an explorer in this underworld where they have been living, and you could probably go for miles. You know. Uh, what do y'all what do y'all think? Do you have any other thoughts on the production?
Oh, wait, sorry, who are you asking?
Any of you?
Oh, I think I already said it was very good. I liked the effects, the way they portrayed the graveyard, the underworld, the creatures, everything really. And also the effect when the guy was cutting his skin off, although it was disgusting, it was well done, I would say.
Okay. Going into the music. I noticed that the music was done by Danny Elfman, who was part of the band Oingo Boingo and has done music behind such films as Batman, The Nightmare Before Christmas, um, Batman
Oh,
Returns, um, and many different films. What did y'all think about it? I thought that the ending music was actually pretty good.
oh yeah, it was, and actually that melody sounds familiar from somewhere. I think I heard it somewhere before. Uh, oh yeah, there was a long time ago, many years ago, I saw some video, some Dragon Ball Z spoof where some character suddenly started to meow, and it was a melody much like this one, which I think they took that from somewhere else also, but I don't know where from. It was something like meow 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 meow. Yeah, uh, I kind of wish I knew where it originates from.
So I guess the this is the soundtrack. I guess it has like six music stuff. So I guess there was Vienna Bonbon's Waltz, Opus 307, which the original music was by Johann Strauss, but it was rearranged by Danny Elfman. Then we have Charge of the Berserkers, which was music by Shirley Walker. Then there's something called Skin, which was actually performed by Oingo Boingo, and written by Danny Elfman, which had played in here somewhere. Then there was a version of Home on the Range that was played in here, which was uncredited. Then there was something called Red River Valley, which I guess is a traditional song. And then, of course, there's Johnny Get Angry, which was the song um, that Ann Bobby performed in her concert. But it was music by Sherman Edwards and Donald Mayer, and the lyrics were by Hal David. And that was evidently something that was on the director's cut only, that concert and that song. So now I guess we are on to favorite scenes. So, Ron, or Mr. K-Ball, if you could tell us a favorite scene and favorite character, what would it be? Ron?
What?
If you could tell us a favorite character or favorite scene.
Cabal. And I guess when he stabs the doctor with the knife that was in his chest.
Okay. How about you, Tammy? If you could take a favorite character or favorite scene in this movie, what would it be?
Well, I think Boone would be my favorite character. I think one of my favorite scenes is when Boone transforms like for the first time, and he goes after the doctor,
Okay.
and he gets all the little marks on his face and his eyes, and when he transforms for the very first time. I think that looks really, that looks cool. How he just, you know, and then when he comes back, um, because what's his name says she's not gonna like how you look, and he just like brings it all back and goes back to how he should look.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. How you know he made him. He looked like the monster and went after the doctor, and he came back and he was able to pull it all back. I thought that was neat.
What about you, Boris? Do you have a favorite character and/or favorite scene?
My favorite character would also be Boone, probably. Now, a favorite scene is kind of difficult to choose, but yeah, as Crow says, I also liked the moment when he finally gets rid of the doctor. Uh, I also liked the part when he is in jail and they find out that he has no heartbeats and they all freak out. That was funny. Uh, uh, I also liked the ending when he turns Lori immortal. Uh, what else? Well, I also liked the moment when he came back to life and everyone thought someone had stolen the body and no one knew what the fuck was going on.
Well, yeah, they went to the broken ass window and realized that it was at a high place. And they're like, how the fuck did he like escape? You know?
Indeed. And I also liked how they sent those berserkers after the cops' asses. Actually, I really like the fact that they portrayed the authorities as bad guys in this one.
Yeah, especially the sheriff. The sheriff was all gun ho on nuking their butts.
Yeah.
But yeah. As far as me, uh, My favorite character is probably Boone, but my favorite monster is in fact that female siren looking thing with the porcupines on her back. I love the fact that she
Oh,
on her back and like
interesting.
shoot them out at people. That was my favorite monster because I think that was the first creature that Boone came across, if I remember correctly. That was the one
Must
that,
it be?
that said that I saw him in my dreams, and he also saw her in his dreams. You know,
Right.
in the very beginning, because she was part of his nightmares. Uh, but favorite scenes? Oh God, there are quite a few. There's the part where the dude took and tried to peel back his skin. Um, I did like that. I did like the sword the sort of sword fight between him and the monster. For some reason, I liked um, the Baphomet part where the priest ended up taking and trying to put his hand inside like the ceremonial bowl, and he was and when his face started changing, he was like, "What have you done?"
Oh yeah, yeah. That reminds me. That was another thing I found confusing about the movie. Like that priest was originally a good guy, from what I understood. Like he was trying to stop them from killing those women and children in Midian, and then at the end he was apparently a bad guy. Why did he change?
He was still a good guy. He didn't want the sheriffs and all the people to destroy these monsters. You know, he was looking out for them. He wanted to be part of them. He was a good guy. He was on their side. He wasn't on the
Um,
Yeah,
sheriff's
but
side.
he ultimately tried to take that ceremonial shit, which he turned into something, and that Baphomet stone creature looked at him like, "What the fuck did you just do?" You know,
but
uh,
at the
it got angry.
But at the very end of the story, didn't the priest say something like that he wanted to find the monsters and kill them? Or
No,
maybe no.
No,
Uh,
he was
maybe
trying to
I
fight for them.
maybe I mixed something up. Or are we all talking about the director's cut, or are you two talking about some other version? Because I read on Wikipedia there are different endings.
No, that particular scene is in both cuts, but
yep,
we watched the director's cut. You know, in the end, he was fighting for the monsters. He was not trying to kill the monsters.
no, but he did put his hand in the in that
Right, and
bowl.
then when he got splashed with it all and everything, he turned into basically one of them.
Yeah,
Ah. Hmm.
but it was something that he should not have done, and that Baphomet stone creature was angry at him for touching it,
Correct.
which
Because
to me points to that you can be all kinds of good, but you'll still be tempted by things. You know,
Hmm.
you can be a self-righteous person all you want, but if you see something that you really like, you might become a thief yourself.
I believe he put his hand in there because he wanted to find out. He was curious. He wanted to be part of them, and his curiosity of wanting to be part of them and knowing what they were is why he put his hand in there, which is, but and that did anger them, but it's I don't think he I don't think he was trying to do anything wrong. He was just curious and he wanted to be part of them. And I think he thought by putting his hand in there he would understand them. Is what I think it was.
I still think
Oh,
he was just as nutso then because um, he was quite hell and brimstone before they brought him along, and then when they brought him with, he felt for the monsters, and then you know by then he'd seen so much to knock him off his rocker just a little bit. So he ultimately became psycho and touched what he wasn't supposed to. So that's my thoughts. But does anyone else have anything else to add about the film?
I don't think so.
No, I'm good.
What about you, Grohl? Did you have anything else to add about the film? Okay, I guess that's it then. So
Then I'll only say one more thing. Hoot hoot. Sorry.
hopefully y'all have enjoyed our discussion on this film.
Who's next week?
I believe it's you, Boris. I believe you're next.
I think so, yeah. I'm gonna have to think what movie I'm going to pick. I haven't decided yet.
Well,
No,
let us
you have to tell us now.
uh, okay, I will tell you after we end the stream, but we will keep the audience wondering until next time.
All right.
Definitely. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed our discussion on this film. Like, share, and subscribe, and hopefully you'll be back with us next week. And I have just one thing to tell you all. You are no longer Midian, you are K-Ball.
Ooh.
Everyone say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
I'll tell you guys later. I'm jumping on here.